I'm Professor Baker. When I say the word feminist, what comes to mind? A big, burly woman, someone that doesn't shave, doesn't shower too often, rants a lot, very angry at men, very forceful with their ideas, just shoving their opinions right in your face. All right, second question. Who here thinks Emma Watson's attractive? All right, so all of you. Jackie, yes, raise your hand. My God, it's Emma Watson.
You have a right to raise your hand.
Okay, so Emma Watson, yeah, she's gorgeous. Doesn't fit the typical feminist stereotype, but she is one. In fact, she's recently been in the news a lot for her hashtag handle, he for she. So many people like her throughout history have done their best to break that stereotypical mold for feminists. She's doing her best to be herself, an everyday woman, and still stand for what she stands for. Because after all, the stereotype isn't really real. I don't look like that. I shaved yesterday, and I still call myself a feminist. Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines feminism as the theory behind political, economic, and social equality between the sexes. According to Dr. Catherine Hill, the pay gap between men and women has barely budged in 10 years. On average in the United States, women earn 78 cents for every male dollar. Now that differs between the states. DC having the highest ratio, they earn 91 cents for every dollar. But in Louisiana, women earn only 66 cents for every male dollar. Move on to politics. According to the World Bank Group, women make up over 50% of the population in just about every country around the world, and definitely overall on the global scale. And yet, according to the National Women's Political Caucus, in the 113th Congress, women had set records for activity in politics. You know what that record-breaking percentage was? 18.5%. Women make up 20% of the Senate and 18.2% of the House of Representatives. 18.5%. Now I don't need to talk to you about the social inequalities between the sexes. According to Josephine Butler, equality for women just doesn't even really exist. You see a girl that, she dates too much. She needs to tighten up her morals. She's getting too loose. Slut, whore. Oh, but a man that dates just the same, he's just sowing his wild oats. He's getting experience, he's living his life, taking in all that the world has to offer. According to Paul Russell, the idea of morality for women and men is entirely different. Whenever women dress provocatively, they're asking for it. We teach women to guard against the advances of men instead of teaching men to respect the boundaries of women. We teach women to cover up rather than telling men to respect the bodies that they have. That doesn't sound like equality to me, what we've got now. But how do we change it? It's simple, really. The first step is always going to be education. Figuring out what you don't know. Feminism is an issue that it's really easy to forget about. If you aren't thinking about it, and if you aren't trying to see it in the world, it's very easy to walk through the world and not see it, especially if you are a man, because you're not the one being treated unfairly. But you really can change that. It's super easy. Yes, the idea of the feminine stereotype, that burly woman, yeah, that's out there. But there's also women like Emma Watson, who's taking to social media, Twitter, making sure that her message of feminism, true feminism, gets spread out into the world. People are standing up for women's rights the right way, the feminist way, not the extremist views that we all have in our heads. The information's out there, you just gotta educate yourself. And then once you're educated, speak out, listen, change. I know a big deal going on in my life is all the girls that are getting sent home from the high school classes because they're wearing Nike shorts. While the boys sitting next to them in their chubby shorts, which I hope to God none of you own because frankly they're just offensive, They're the same length, but those boys, oh, they're just fine. They have the tank tops with the armholes cut down to here. You can see just about everything that's going on, and they're fine. But if you see a girl's bra strap, she needs to be sent home because she's being distracting. I don't want that to be the world I live in. And if we do educate, if we do listen, if we do learn, and if we do speak out, it doesn't have to be. We can live in a world where a man and a woman bring home a child, happy baby. Both the mother and father are offered maternity leave. They get to stay home, spend time bonding with that child. They both get to be equal parents, equally involved in that child's first steps. Doesn't that sound right to you? Your sisters, your mothers, your future wives, your current girlfriends, they have the opportunity to make the same paycheck you do. Doesn't that sound right to you? Whenever little boys and girls, they play with toys, we give the boys tools, trucks, things to grow up, skills. We try and imbibe them with skills early on to learn a trade, have a career. Women, we give dolls and easy bake ovens, teaching them to be wives and mothers. And that's a valuable role in society, but it's not the only role they can have. I see a society where we aren't split by women and men. I see a world where you don't treat people based on these preconceived notions. If we educate and listen, we can achieve that. And we can be opposite and equal sexes. Thank you. Any questions? Alex.
So way back when you were talking about the differences between women and men's salaries, you said that DC had women made 91 cents to a men's dollar, but in Louisiana it was closer to 60. Why do you think that is so different?
Well, DC is a political hub. It's somewhere where reform kind of starts. Places like San Francisco, New York, places where there is more political growth and activity in that sector, you're probably going to have a higher equality rate between the wages. Whereas Louisiana, that's deep south. They're more steeped in tradition, old ways. They're less involved in the movement for feminism, so they're probably going to have lower pay percentages. Anybody else? Okay. Bye, Professor Baker.